Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech and welcome to a brand new YouTube video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys another 3 teams that we ran during the Go Battle weekend. Honestly, these teams did pretty well, especially the last one. We ran a little bit of a sneak peek here. We ran Gligar in the last team and it actually did insanely well. So yeah, let's go ahead and check out these teams and see what we can do with them. Just as a heads up, I really hope you guys have been enjoying the content. We've been kind of fluctuating up and down a little bit in terms of, getting the channel out there and all that. So I really appreciate you guys' support and everyone that's been hanging out in the comments and on stream and all that. I appreciate you guys. So hopefully we can keep growing this community. But yeah, for our first team, we are checking out Clodsire, Meowscarada, and Greninja. So basically double weak to Fairy in the back with a Fairy answer in the front. And double mud slap answers as well. Honestly, this team is a lot better on paper than it is in the games, as we will see. But regardless, I did really enjoy it. I really like Meowscarada. I feel like Meowscarada has a lot of play in this meta. But yeah, in the first lead, we see Scizor, which honestly, it's not an amazing lead whatsoever. But we can always bait the Stone Edge here. Scizors, they always love to shield. And even if they no shield a Sludge Bomb for some reason, it should be able to 2-shot regardless. So it's not super risky of a bait here, but it is a bait nonetheless. I will, however, be able to get to this Earthquake at the exact same time that I would be getting a Stone Edge. But I can claim both shields from my opponent here very easily. So if this Scizor wants to exit with some energy and of course boosted, then they are going to have to give up both of their shields here. I'm going to bring in Greninja since I do pace a little bit quicker here. Hopefully I can get some energy coming out of this matchup. My opponent does bait the Night Slash, which is a little bit annoying because it means I have to throw earlier. But regardless, we do come out with one Water Shuriken away from another Night Slash here. My opponent brings in a Azumarill. We bring in Meowscarada. And unfortunately, since we did a Water Shuriken when they came in, they do actually outpace to the Ice Beam here, which does so much damage. They bring in Diggersby, and unfortunately, this is just looking like game over. Maybe if I didn't shield that Night Slash on that Night Slash bait on the Scizor, we actually just run away with this game with our Meowscarada. But unfortunately, since they did bait us, we are not going to have a lot of play here. We do get the Night Slash boost there, but unfortunately, I am going to need double Hydro Cannon here, and I'm not going to get there. Maybe if I Night Slashed and then Hydro Cannon again, trying to get another boost there, but unfortunately we are not going to get there. So GG's to my opponent there. Honestly, a very very polarizing team from them with double tanks in the back, but regardless, we lose that game. On to the next games here. We see what is it? Magnuson in the lead, and honestly that's not an amazing Pokemon for us to see. They pivot into Fearow, and they do let us throw the Sludge Bomb first. They don't throw first, which means that they don't get their turn back, so they are only at 5 pecks. So very good for us, honestly. They also throw on kind of poor timing on our Greninja here, so we are just getting a lot of energy that we shouldn't be getting thanks to our this trainer's game style. I'm going to full send the Hydro Cannon here. I know Night Slash would not KO, and if I do send the Night Slash and they no shield it, we're going to be in big trouble. My opponent does bring Magnezone, however, and I will not, unfortunately, get 2 moves here, so I'm just going to full send the Hydro Cannon. If they want to let that go, that's fine. They bring in Moltres, and this game should technically be over. It is a little bit scary, though, because they do have of course, Fly is going to one-shot our Meowscarada, and we don't have Stone Edge on our Clodsire. Thankfully, they do no-shield the Hydro Cannon. I don't really know why they no-shielded that, since it is the most damaging move left in the game. My opponent actually has Ancient Power, which is a very crazy pick, but it will not pick up the knockout for them. And even with the boost, we are able to Leafage down after landing that Night Slash. So pretty well played by them, but unfortunately, we just had a better team comp into them. All right, we see Charizard in the lead in the next match, and of course I would rather have this on my Greninja, but it's not even a crazy amazing matchup there either. An Air Cutter does so much damage to Greninja that honestly it's not even that comfortable. So I'm just going to stay in here with the Clod. If they want to Blast Burn, that is totally fine. They can snipe here with an air cutter, but they choose not to. They make a really nice catch into Dusclops of the Sludge Bomb. And I'm going to bring in Meowscarada. I know they have Ice Punch, and I know that Ice Punch is going to hurt quite a bit, but I feel like my Greninja might have a little bit more play. Of course, I don't want my Meowscarada into that Charizard, so I am going to bring it here because I can actually survive a move from Dusclops where I cannot survive a move from Charizard. I'm going to full send the Frenzy here because I know that it does a lot more damage than Night Slash, even though Night Slash is super effective. So we take the knockout there. If Charizard comes in, I'm just going to full send the Night Slash here. They should unfortunately be able to get a farm down before I get a second Night Slash. So I should just be pivoting out of here. We get the snipe of the Charizard, which is really good for us. And they have a Gastrodon in the back. So not a particularly positive matchup for us, but up one Water Shuriken is definitely the way to go here. They do shield the first Hydro Cannon, which is really good. Definitely like what you are supposed to do as Gastrodon in this point in time. But thanks to us, we are going to be able to knock out with a Night Slash here if we get to it. It looks like we won't, but Meowscarada, remember, still has plenty of energy. And as long as we survive one Mud Slap here, we should be able to get to the Night Slash, and that's going to be a good game. Honestly, a little bit closer. Maybe if I just shielded the Greninja there, we could have outpaced to the Night Slash and probably just cap tie. But regardless, there are a lot of win conditions that we have to be paying attention to, so GG's to them. In the next match, we see Dedenne into our Clodsire, which is an amazing lead. They pivot into Cradily, and I'm going to bring in Greninja here. Of course, if I bring in Meowscarada, I do risk getting fully farmed down with the acids the longer the matchup goes, which is not amazing. And Meowscarada is still kind of an answer to Dedenne, so if I can bring in Greninja here and kind of get rid of another problem Pokemon for that Dedenne, then we should be in a good spot here. I'm going to throw my Hydro Cannon on good timing. It looks like this Cradily does want to play for Switch Advantage. And again, I don't really need it. I don't know if I want to bring in my Meowscarada here to have a farm down because I would take a lot of damage from the acid. So I am just going to bring in Clodsire. I'm going to throw my Sludge Bomb immediately because I know that I can outpace them before they get a move. So I'm not risking a cap tie. And my opponent brings in Drifblim. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, well, it looks like my Meowscarada is going to sweep, right? And they already know that I have Sludge Bomb. So I'm going to wait for them to throw, pivot into my Meowscarada. They are going to instantly swap into their Dedenne because they think it has more play, but unfortunately for them, it does not. It looks like I will have, however, I will have to shield a Play Rough here, but I don't think my opponent got to it. I think this might just be a parabolic, and it is. So at this point, this Drifblim, I mean, these Astonishes are doing a lot of damage to us, but I don't think it's going to be enough to take the knockout before we get to our second Night Slash here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shield this move because, of course, it's an Icy Wind. I'm going to farm up to my Night Slash just to make sure I can throw it undebuffed later. And then I'm just going to bring in Clodsire to chip with these Sludge Bombs. Sludge Bomb is resisted here. It's not going to do a lot of damage, but Drifblim is one of those Pokemon that really only has bulk. At this point, I'm just throwing Earthquake as BM. I'm just being a little bit mean here, but I do find it really funny that Clodsire is putting enough work into this Drifblim to kind of ruin its life. But we do have the Night Slash in the back, so we didn't even have to throw that second move. Drifblim does farm up to the back-to-back to guarantee that they can at least cap tie if I have the move, but unfortunately for them, we do have the move, and that is going to be a GG. On to the next team here. We have Caesar in the lead, Cradily on the swap, and we have Firo in the back. We see a very positive lead in the first match, and then my opponent brings in a clone Blastoise. Amazing flex from them there. Honestly, the clone Pokemon have not returned to Pokemon Go since the release of that movie, so very, very cool flex there. My opponent isn't really farming up to the Ice Beam anymore, so I really don't have to respect these Hydro Cannons, and it's not like I super need Switch Advantage here. Firo does have a decent matchup against Cradily if they are down shields, so I do not mind having to play that out if I have to. At this point, though, it looks like I can probably flip switch or get both shields down, but my opponent makes an amazing play. They wait a turn and they catch a Grass Knot on Cradily. Still not an amazing catch. I do make a little bit of a misplay here. I played the cap tie onto this Cradily instead of throwing one earlier. This allows my opponent to guarantee a shield back because they can just shield And of course, it's a cap tie, so they are going to get their move off. Even if I throw one bullet punch earlier, I can guarantee that my opponent has to just let it go, or they're going to get knocked out by the immediate second Night Slash there. My opponent does bring in Corviknight, which is definitely not an ideal Pokemon for us to see here, but we do get a Night Slash boost, which does kind of delete the last debuff that Cradily did into us, and +1 as well. So I'm just going to stay in here, get all these boosted bullet punches into this Corviknight. And my opponent is going to be throwing a lot of energy here. Payback would do a considerable amount of damage. For some reason, though, they Air Cutter, which I definitely believe is a strange play. Here, I bring in Cradily mostly because I know that Drill Peck is not going to quite knock out the Blastoise just yet. So if I can bring in Cradily just to get a little bit of fast move pressure into the Blastoise and guarantee that I can put them into Drill Peck range for the future, then we should be in a decent spot. We can outpace this Corviknight before they get to the Payback because, again, for some reason they did throw an Air Cutter earlier there, and we're able to take that game. So yeah, a little bit of a misplay by them, but regardless, we are going to take that Elo, baby. We do definitely need it. We see a pretty rough lead in the next match. I know this would probably be slightly better into Firo. Honestly, I doubt it would be amazing, but I'm just going to stay in here with my Scizor. I'm going to full send the Trailblaze and try to get as many boosted bullet punches as I can into this Pokemon. Most Annihilates do like to shield just to guarantee switch, so this is a very safe shield from them. And I should be able to get a full farm down here before they get another Rage Fist, so pretty good there. My opponent does bring in Carbink though, so I have to pivot out. This looks like a very RPS kind of like team. I'm going to stay in here. My opponent, for some reason, is staying in here as well. I'm going to throw right before they get their first Rock Slide, since they should get it on 9 Rock Throws there. Just to guarantee that if I throw first, I do get my turn back from swapping. My opponent, however, is staying in, so I am going to shield the Moonblast. It was a little bit suspicious of them to like be staying into that matchup so hard. So at this point, I think I'm just going to bank a bunch of energy here, bring in Firo. My opponent is going to need at least 2 charge moves to knock us out. Maybe 3 if they don't boost with Air Cutters. They full send the Payback there, which is definitely the correct play. Now they can just go for Air Cutters, and if they get a boost, they're going to be even more threatening to my Cradily. Hopefully in the end game, 2 Grass Knots should be coming pretty close to knocking out the Carbink. Problem is, can I get there before I get fast move down? I have to throw energy into this Corviknight, unfortunately, because them landing in Payback would definitely put me into Rock Throw down range. But unfortunately, as you guys can see, I'm so low, and Carbink really just needs to get to 1 move, and I make a crucial error here. You're going to see how much damage Grass Knot does. It does quite a bit of damage, and we barely survive this move. So I believe my win con would have probably been to go for the Rock Tomb first, and then go for the Grass Knot. Would that have knocked out? I am not sure. It would have been neutral damage, so maybe we had a little bit more of a chance to fast move down or even tie, but unfortunately, we will never know. Pretty decent lead in the next match. Altaria, I do like to throw the Night Slash immediately here, just in case we do get a boost. We will allow this matchup to go a lot better for Scizor. Scizor, if it wants to guarantee this matchup, does have to go down 2 shields, whereas Altaria only has to go down 1. So ironically, a pretty favorable matchup for Altaria thanks to the new Dragon Breath rework. But again, if you do get a boost on your first Night Slash, then you can just farm all the way down. Here, my opponent is going to shield the second Night Slash just to get their move off. I do overfarm by 1 there just to make sure I have more energy for the backline, and my opponent brings in Empoleon. Honestly, this should be good game at this point. Empoleon is just such a problematic Pokemon for my team, especially my backline, especially up shields. So this is looking pretty dire. I'm going to bring in Firo here, and I'm just going to throw my Drill Peck immediately. If I cap tie them, then that's good to me. Firo, this is a rank 1 Firo, as you can see by the picture on the left. So we should be able to survive a Hydro Cannon and even survive another 5 Metal Sounds to get to another move here. So I'm just going to bank this Drill Peck and pivot, and my opponent pivots as well. They try to catch on Altaria, but it does not work out for them. This just gives my Cradily a bunch of farm. Even if Empoleon comes back in, they can land a move if they want, but they should be getting acided down. And they bring in their last, and it's going to be a Marowak. So Honestly, very, very lucky for us that our opponent tried catching not on the Marowak, but on the Altaria, and we have a bunch of farm left. At this point, even with the Mud Slap damage and the Bone Club damage and whatnot, this Hydro Cannon is not going to be able to knock out. We are going to BM just a little bit, throwing this Rock Tomb here, and we're going to say GG's to our opponent there. We still had a Drill Peck in the back, so that was a very comfortable win, but definitely quite a bit of a misplay from my opponent there. All right, and getting to the final team of the video, we are checking out Morpeko in the lead. Like I said in the beginning of the video, Gligar on the swap, and we have Florges in the back. Florges is running the double buff debuff moves, so we are on Chilling Water, Trailblaze. We see Charge Bug in the first lead of the game, which definitely isn't ideal, but Morpeko can kind of make this a little bit uncomfortable for them. Usually in such a positive matchup like this, you probably don't want to spend shields against, you know, something that you're supposed to be hard countering. We actually bait our opponent into a cap tie here, which means that I could technically just no shield this and have a pretty decent matchup into the Gligar, but I don't. I do shield it. I should get a double boosted Psychic Fangs into this Annihilate. And of course they have to shield this, or this would practically knock them out. I believe to a non-shadow Annihilate double boosted, it would do about 78% damage. So yeah, they'd be pretty much over with. We will bring in Florges. They do get a Rage Fist here, which is a little bit scary, but I'm hoping that after this Trailblaze, the boosted Fairy ones should be able to farm them all the way down before they get another move, which we do. And at this point, whatever they come in with, they should be getting hit with a Chilling Water or Trailblaze here. I am going to throw the Trailblaze just to guarantee that I can get more damage in with my Fairy Winds and threaten a knockout with the next move here. I'm going to overfarm, make a catch right before they get their move, and Gligar should just be in prime position to sweep here. My opponent makes a little bit of a weird swap here. This might just be an opponent that hadn't really played the last seasons of the Go Battle League. If you guys remember, Charge Bug into Gligar was a very unfortunate yet extremely common scenario for people to see. So yeah, Gligar completely walling Charge Bug's energy there. We get a full farm down, and that Diggersby will not be able to hang on to all that energy. We see what you could say is a decent lead in the next match with a Dusknoir onto our Morpeko, but honestly, I don't even feel too comfortable there. I'm going to bring in my Florges into the counter swap of the Marowak, and we should be able to start debuffing this thing to the ground, hopefully have a lot of play. Marowak, though, it is one of those guarantee swap Pokemon. We actually play to the cap tie here because, again, I mean, these Marowak players, they have little to no decency, so they just throw on alignment every single time they can, and we do read that, so this should allow us to get a full farm down before they get another Bone Club. Thanks for throwing on alignment, buddy. I severely appreciate that. I should be able to get a Chilling Water into this Dusknoir, and they do get 2 Astonishes worth of energy, which is definitely not ideal, but they have Basti in the back, and oh, trainer, my trainer, we are going to farm up to the Aura Wheel on Morpeko, bring in Gligar. And once again, another one of those matchups that were pretty popular back in the day. Non-Shadow Gligar can actually survive 2 Stone Edges and get off 2 digs into Basti. The new Fury Cutter and the old Wing Attack should be pretty similar in energy generation, so we are in a pretty decent position here, especially still having a shield. My opponent, they no shield the Basti there, which is definitely a strange play. I feel like Basti was kind of their win con. But them trying to run away so much from Morpeko the whole game kind of costed them, right? They wanted any other Pokemon onto the Morpeko, but Dusknoir doesn't even have an abundantly terrible matchup here. I mean, Shadow Punch is going to do an insane amount of damage. So yeah, pretty decent there. We see a terrible lead in the next match, so we're going to save swap our Florges here. These Marowaks, they usually like to throw instantly, so I am going to throw instantly as well. Since we swapped out there, we did get the 1-turn swap, so we should be able to throw our Chilling Water instantly without suffering too many consequences of lack of efficiency there with our charge move. My opponent does bring Bastiodon in here, which is definitely not ideal. I would love to see this into my Gligar, a lot better than into my Florges, of course. But regardless, we should be able to bank a Chilling Water here, bring in the Morpeko, And I do have to be a little bit wary of the switch timers. We did throw 2 moves when we were in the KWAC matchup, so I am just going to throw this Aura Wheel right here. I don't want this Bastiodon to be able to escape from this Aura Wheel damage, because this will guarantee that they are in dig range or chilling water range in the future. Unfortunately, we don't get to another move there. I bring in Florges mostly because I fat fingered it. I was looking back on stream and I was really worried about doing this. I did 1 Fairy Wind and the move, and we actually got DRE. So absolutely never punished there. Definitely don't deserve that, but I will take it. I mean, this team is already extremely toxic. We are able to Fury Cutter all the way down that Marowak, and look who it is. It is our friend Poliwrath here, so very decent for us. Unfortunately, having Fury Cutter here is definitely not ideal. It should be pretty difficult to get a farm down here ever, but for some reason my opponent just no shields that. I feel like you always shield that and just try to get an Icy Wind off or something like that. Honestly, the counters probably do more than the smackdown, but yeah, my opponent realizes that they don't really have a win con anymore and they will resign the game. All right, we see Morpeko into Dedenne in the next match. Not an ideal matchup, but we do have a lot more damage with our 5 pacing Aura Wheel. It looks like our opponent might have cap-tied us there with a parabolic charge. Definitely weird. Oh, they actually caught on Cradily. And again, you would think this is a pretty good catch by them, but I mean, I severely outpace still, you know, so I can do 7 more Thunder Shocks, cap tie them to the Rock Tomb. They don't actually let the cap tie happen, which I guess makes sense, but that's totally fine by me. And I can kind of just stay in this matchup and guarantee switch advantage. If I have that Dedenne into my Gligar, oh, we're going to be in such a good spot. And again, we're coming out pretty boosted out of this Cradily matchup here. That resisted Aura Wheel actually fully knocks out. And whatever they bring in is going to take a, what is it at this point? Double boosted? Triple boosted? Psychic Fangs? Look at that Dedenne, dude. That Psychic Fangs does almost half of its remaining HP. These Thunder Shocks are adding up severely. They have to throw energy here, and they will throw the Parabolic, which will knock out. So unfortunately, we can't get another move there, but that is totally fine. Morpeko has done more than enough work here. I don't really have to be respecting a play rough here, even though it's going to do a lot of damage. My opponent, though, they bait with a parabolic charge, and I think they're just going crazy at this point. They realize that they're not going to get to another play rough here. They throw another parabolic. They allow me to overfarm even more, and this Gligar is just going absolutely crazy. It is completely breaking people's heads. And look what they have in the back. They bring in a Gastrodon, and this should just be game over. Thankfully, we do have Trailblaze on our Florges, so it should be a pretty easy matchup here. Honestly, I should have swapped in immediately instead of throwing that dig. Throwing that dig was kind of unnecessary. Trailblaze will come pretty close to knocking out regardless. My opponent baits with a body slam. And my win con at this point, since I didn't swap it immediately for the double Trailblaze, is just to go Chilling Water, right? If I go Trailblaze and they shield it, I get no utility out of it. So if I go Chilling Water, I can survive all the Mud Slaps. My Gligar can survive Body Slams if it has to, and I can outpace to the second Chilling Water there. So that was definitely the safest way to play out that game. But regardless, that is the last game of the video. And again, I really enjoyed Gligar, man. I hope Gligar comes back. Fury Cutter, I just don't feel like it's the move for it. Hopefully they do something with Wing Attack, because I severely miss Wing Attack. Wing Attack was so fun. I love that meta. Regardless, though, I sure hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, I had a lot of fun in the Go Battle weekend, and I still have a lot of footage to go through. I mean, it took about 7 hours per day to get through all of those battles on stream. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I appreciate you guys. Again, all the support you guys been showing in the latest videos and on stream. And hopefully, guys, I will see you in the next one. GG's.